Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. King Misuzulu has been officially recognized as the AmaZulu King by the South African government today in the first Zulu coronation since 1971. The official recognition by President Cyril Ramaphosa puts an end to fights that have mired his succession to the throne, a battle that's played out in public and the courts. The crowning is a first that the country has witnessed in more than half a century. Now, Professor Musa Xulu, a cultural expert, joins us now for a discussion. A very good evening to you, Prof. Thank you for your time. As he officially handed over the certificate of recognition to the king, President Ramaphosa said King Misuzulu is the rightful and the only king of the Zulu nation. The president said a mouthful today, especially as my colleague Ziyanda Ngcobo was in conversation with the king a short while ago. He too emphasized that there can only be one king, and it's him.
Well, it's what we have been saying all along, working with an organization called Donza Isizwe. We have been, because when all these court cases started happening, we said maybe we can help here with research, because most of the things, as the king rightfully said, it was not clear what his opposition was looking for. Now that everything has been done, this is now the end of, we hope, all the squabbles, and then the new beginning should start from tomorrow. He is the only one who can produce a certificate of recognition whenever he is required to do so. So there's no other one. All the others will say, okay, maybe I would love to be a king and so on, but it's neither here nor there. It's done now, it's finished. They should go back to him and shake hands and then move forward.
So as South Africa's first new Zulu king in 51 years, King Misuzulu has a mammoth task ahead. I mean, his path to the crown has not been smooth. Today's coronation comes a year after the bitter feuding over the royal succession that essentially, as you say, spilled into the courts. Yet today, in an unexpected move, we saw Queen Sibongile Dlamini Zulu, the Zulu queen, whose first court case opened the floodgates for several litigations over the throne and the estate of the late king. She attended the coronation, even after boycotting several other events, like the Reed dance last month. Now, King Misuzulu answered some of this as Ziyanda Ngcobo, my colleague, posed the question to him about what it all signifies, you know, a glimmer of hope in the call for unity.
Well, the king has to call for unity, because you must remember that the Zulu nation was created out of a quest for unity. It is actually a federal nation with over 300 amakhosi, having been some conquered, some decided to join the mission of Shaka Zulu in the 1820s to unite all Zulu-speaking people into one nation. So all the time, whether they're facing the challenges with colonialism, or chasing the challenges with apartheid, or facing the challenges of black-on-black violence, which happened especially here in KZN. The Zulu nation has always triumphed because the quest for unity is supreme more than anything. That's why actually the most important instrument of unity among the Zulus is culture. Because with all political differences and so on, when it comes to cultural expressions, Zulus will always display lots of unity. So the king has to pursue that kind of thinking to say, Zulus be united, let us work. Importantly is what happens tomorrow going forward, because I heard him talking a lot about rural development. There is that land called the Nyama Trust land, which needs now urgently to be utilized for development.
Yeah, because we know that the title of king doesn't bestow executive power, but of course wields the great moral influence over the Zulu nation. As King Misuzulu took his vows, pledging to lead AmaZulu faithfully, he said it's by faith that he reigns as king today. You make mention of developing rural areas, and we heard him speaking a short while ago saying that he wants to develop rural areas for rural people to stay in the villages, in developed land. How significant is this, you know, especially as the expectations may be high from the Zulu nation?
Yes, definitely. You have said a lot when you said title of a king does not mean executive authority. It's not the same, for example, as King of Swaziland. But there's a lot of people who are professionals, are wanting to work with him. He should mobilize those people. He should mobilize various structures of government by way of saying what he would love to see happening. But working with government alone, I don't know whether that's going to be much of progress, because we all can see now where government is. I think that utilizing resources, human resources that are at universities, business people. I had a meeting with AfriForum today in Durban, as we were down there. There's Afrikaner people, there's white people, there's Indian people. I was talking to Naren saying, they're asking, how can we participate in the development of the Zulu Kingdom economically? And those are not people who are in government, but they have the resources, they have the knowledge, they have the experience. I mean, if you look at some of the things that, for example, some of the friends of AfriForum have been able to do, building their own universities, their own institutions, you can learn from those people. It's a new way of working, because sometimes if you only focus on government, all right, it's good, but then you may be leaving out a lot of people that would love to work and develop, especially in rural areas of KwaZulu-Natal, those lands that fall under Ingonyama Trust. I know, because every day they phone our offices at Indonza, even people from overseas. They say, would love to come and work with your kingdom. Would love to come and work with your kingdom. We have models, for example, about how the Buganda kingdom has been developed as an independent kingdom that does not depend on government, but has its own resources. We know how some kingdoms in Native Americans are following the same trend.
As you speak about, looking at other opportunities in his efforts to, ensure that there is development in the rural areas, that's one challenge that he will face. But what do you believe to be the other challenges that he may face as he is now officially the king?
Well, one of the first things that has to happen is to mobilize AmaKhosi in their rural areas to start again believing in themselves in the same manner as AmaKhosi under King Cetshwayo were believing in themselves. And then, of course, secondly, the other problem that we have here is lots of unemployment. He spoke about that. And then, of course, everyone seems to run and killing at ease in whatever way they would love to kill. That needs to stop. So fighting crime is a concern of everybody. And the other thing, of course, is ensuring, working with, of course, the structures, professors, teachers, that the schooling system works again. Because at the moment, there's problems, especially in rural and township schools. But he will need to mobilize people in such a way that people from all walks of life, even those that are not in government, begin to believe that they have a role to play other than just focusing on government alone.
Yeah, very well. Thank you so much. Thanks for your time. Thanks for weighing in on this discussion. Professor Musa Xulu, a cultural expert and historian, speaking about what lies ahead for the AmaZulu King Misuzulu Ka Zwelithini. We will continue to bring you more news, of course, also showing you some of the color that came throughout the course of the day as the coronation took place. The very latest in the world of sport also coming up shortly.